Today, we're going to share a recording from our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Consulting Success channel on YouTube. I'll now turn it over to Michael.
How many clients do you actually need to create a thriving and successful consulting business? The answer may surprise you. At consultingsuccess.com, we've asked thousands of consultants over the years how many clients they actually work with per year and how many clients do they want to work with per year in order to reach their annual income goals. Now, most people, if I ask that question, how many clients do you think you need, or how many clients do you believe that you want to have in your business, the initial response is much higher than the data actually shows. So we've looked at this through studies, we've analyzed the data, and for the typical consultant, they need between 5 and 20 clients per year to reach their annual income goals. Now, that number might seem small to some of you, but when you're clear on your model, and especially if you are working with clients, the right kind of clients, you don't actually need that many. And this is true for consultants who want to earn $500,000 a year, or even up towards $1 million per year. You don't necessarily need more than 20 clients to achieve that if you have services that are really valuable to your ideal clients and you're charging premium fees. So let's just back up for a moment and talk about the differences in models, right? How you approach deciding the number of clients to work with will really come down to what is your model? How are you delivering your services? For some of you, the number might be much higher than that. And for others, it might be lower. Although generally, I wouldn't recommend working with fewer than 4 or 5 clients over the period of 1 year for diversification purposes, right? You lose 1 or 2 clients. And if you only have 3 clients, that's a big loss of income. So generally, 5 at the low end, 20 at the high end. And that's what the data tends to represent. So the business model, right? You can either have a business model that is focused on value or volume. There's many other factors, but value or volume is an important kind of consideration. The value approach says that you work with fewer clients and each of them is worth more to you. So typically higher dollar or euro or yen, whatever currency you work in, right? But the value per client is greater for each individual client. The volume model means that you work with more clients. And again, generally each individual client is worth less. The volume model tends to be one where you work much more closely with each individual client, where there is more customization, right? There's more involvement with each client, and the results that you create for them are very significant. The volume model is where a productized approach to your services tends to be a very good fit, where instead of maybe providing 80% custom solutions for each individual client, you get good at one thing, really, really good at it. And you have 80% of what you do is already standardized, customized, and 20% might be, 20% is customized. The 80% is more standardized. So if you're thinking 5 to 20 clients, it doesn't sound like that many, but if you could actually reach your annual income goals, right, that would work out really well for you. So how do you go about doing this? Well, the first thing is to figure out who those true ideal clients are. Because if you are using the value model and the value kind of approach over volume, again, each client needs to be worth a lot more to you. And the way that you earn more from each client is making sure that you are delivering exceptional value, right? The more value that you are creating for your clients, the more that you can typically charge to those clients, right? And earn from them. That means that not all clients should be treated equally. Not all organizations, not all buyers, right? There are different levels. And so if you want to be able to earn more from every client that you work with, right, and therefore have the value approach, you want to spend some time thinking about where can you create the greatest value? Which type of person and organization has the biggest and most challenging problems that when you can step in and engage with them and help them to overcome those challenges and, push past those roadblocks and create the outcomes and the results that they desire, there's going to be significant value that is unlocked. So think about who are you working with today and what would it look like to work with somebody who has a bigger problem, a bigger challenge, or when you create and deliver the result that you are known for and that you are confident that you can provide, where, for example, a 10% improvement for your current client might generate an extra $500,000 for them per year. But if you applied your expertise to a larger or more established or a different type of organization, a 10% improvement for them might generate $10 million for them in additional profit, right? And this is not only about money, even whether you're working in a nonprofit or any type of consulting, any industry at all, you want to think about where can you take your knowledge, your expertise, your experience, and where can you apply it where it will have the biggest impact, where it will solve the bigger problem, where it will create a bigger outcome. Because that is a place where you can then start earning more because you are delivering greater value. Sometimes this will mean that you're going to target larger organizations. And I recognize in speaking with many consultants over the years, I mean, we do this a lot with clients at Consulting Success and especially in our Clarity coaching program. You can find out more about that by going to consultingsuccess.com and clicking on coaching or click on the link somewhere below this video. But in many of these conversations that we have with clients as we work with them to help them to grow and scale their businesses, they realize that they've had a limiting belief. They've thought to themselves or kind of held themselves back by focusing on working with smaller organizations. They've told themselves that maybe I can't work with a larger organization because I'm smaller or I'm a solo consultant or I'm just a small team. But that's not always the case. And so if you allow yourself to expand your thinking, to look and to think bigger, right? To find the people and the organizations that have bigger problems, then you get to unlock potentially significantly more value, right? In terms of what you're going to be paid for solving those problems. So once you've identified who those larger organizations or more established organizations, or just the organizations and people that have a more pressing, more painful, more valuable problem to solve where you can earn more, then you want to figure out how to start engaging and going after them. If you decide to take that path, it may mean that you need to prepare yourself for a longer sales cycle than you are used to. And if that is the case, let's say that you've identified that you want to actually go after an enterprise client where you've only been targeting small businesses, or maybe even move from small business clients to mid-market clients. The sales cycle might be longer. So in order to counter that, one thing that you should be thinking about is how to create a discovery offer. Let's just say that your typical engagement is $75,000, and that's what you're working towards landing with a mid-market client. Well, that might take a bit of time, right? Especially if you don't have a referral, if you don't really know anyone inside the organization, you might need to prepare yourself for several months, 6, 12 months, sometimes even longer before you land that deal. And especially if you start getting into 6 figures or multiple 6 figures or even 7-figure size deals, right? It can take many months, in some cases, years or a year or more, right, to land that kind of deal. But the way that you can actually get your foot in the door much sooner is by providing some form of a discovery offer. So think about creating a workshop where you can deliver value for a relatively low cost. Maybe it's a speaking engagement. Maybe it's an online training. But think about what you can do to get your foot in the door, provide value, and build a relationship, right? The hardest sale to make is the first sale. So getting your foot in the door can actually help you to make that second, the larger sale, much faster. And the second consideration is to simply be prepared for the longer sales cycle. If you don't have a strong cash flow position right now, then if you decide to kind of turn very quickly and say, I'm only going to go after larger, more established clients, and it's going to take many, many months to land them, and you're not in the position to weather that storm, right, and to survive during that time, that's not smart thinking, right? That's not planning for success. Instead, what you want to think about is, how can you create cash flow, make sure that you can survive so that you have the ability to weather the storm and then land those larger clients. So first step there is to think about how can you create quick wins, right? What can you do during that time to generate business? We talked about the discovery offer, but the other thing that you can do is think about additional offers that you can make to the marketplace. Maybe there's some training or some coaching that you can provide. Maybe there's some kind of spot advisory or consulting services that you just do a couple of calls here or there, right? You want to think about how can you take all of your skills, experience, and expertise and start offering different things to the market where you have identified there's a problem that you can solve or value that you can add. And when you do that, you might find that you get a couple of people saying, yeah, I'd actually love if you could coach me and do some calls with my sales team, or if you could talk with our team about fundraising for our nonprofit. And so these might not be the large engagements that you're going after, but they provide short-term or maybe some consistent cash flow, even at a lower level, but you do a few of them and they add up, and that carries you through so that you can survive the 6 or 8 months to land that 6-figure deal. And then the second part is that once you've landed that 6-figure deal, it's always a good idea to think about, well, how do I take a percentage of that profit from that larger 6 or 7-figure deal and then reinvest that back into my business so that I can grow. And that reinvestment might mean that you bring on more people. It might mean that you invest in some kind of technology to help you to be more efficient. It might mean that you invest into your marketing and business development, but it also should mean that you take some of that money and you put it away, right? It goes into that kind of emergency rainy day fund, but not just for your personal life, also for your business. And that's important because then that's going to give you the comfort, the runway to go after that next larger client and larger deal, knowing that you can survive that storm. And you keep doing that, getting your business to the point where you have enough safety net, enough runway where you're not even worried about that something's going to take you 6 or 8 or 12 months to land a really significant deal, because you've already won some of those, you have money in the bank, and you're good to keep focusing on growing. So back to how many clients do you actually need to create a successful and thriving consulting business? It's a lot less than you probably think, right? The data shows between 5 to 20 clients is all most consultants need to land the level of income that they desire. And we're not talking about just $100,000 or $200,000 per year. These are people that generally want to be at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 or $750,000 a year, $1 million a year, or in some cases even more than that. And so if you have $1 million a year target, right, you might only need 10 or 12 or 15 clients a year if each of those clients is worth a considerable amount to you. If your dollar value per client is very low, that means you're going to either need to attract a lot more clients, therefore you're taking the more volume approach, or you need to think about what additional offering can you create that isn't going to deliver more value for the market that you're serving. And then that allows you to significantly increase your fees to make every client worth more to you. But again, the data shows between 5 to 20 clients is what most consultants need to work with per year to achieve their annual income goals. We have a lot more resources on this topic at consultingsuccess.com. Click the link below this video. Be sure to subscribe. Watch the next video in our channel. We're constantly posting more of them. And let me know in the comments what you'd like to learn more about so that I can make a video on that topic for you coming up soon.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, you'll love all the free resources, case studies, and best practices at consultingsuccess.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much.